"What happens now?" he asked Ambassador Jin quietly. She smiled, watching as human and Kisteri officials mingled more comfortably than before the failed coup. "Now we grow together, literally and figuratively." On the main screen, images showed new agricultural centers being established across Earth, alongside Kisteri technology hubs. Where there had been fear of conquest, there was now cautious hope for partnership. And in orbiting greenhouses circling both planets, new varieties of strawberries grew under careful watch. Tiny red fruits that had somehow accomplished what all humanity's weapons and technology could not. Peace with the stars. Queen Mira entered the hall wearing ceremonial armor that caught the light with each movement. The crowd parted as she approached the central display where Sung Min waited with his hybrid fruits. "Professor," she greeted him warmly, her 4 eyes focused entirely on him. "Today we show both our peoples the benefits of cooperation." What happened next occurred so quickly that Sung Min would later struggle to recall the exact sequence. A shout came from the Kisteri side of the room. Several officers, led by General Te, drew weapons. Simultaneously, a group of Earth security personnel moved to block them, revealing the coup attempt had been anticipated. "Protect the Queen," Commander Dai shouted, moving to shield his monarch. Queen Mira, however, remained eerily calm. She reached for one of Sung Min's peace blossom strawberries and consumed it in a single bite. The hall fell silent as everyone watched, uncertain what was happening. "General Tai," the Queen said, her voice clearer and more resonant than before. "You believe I have weakened our empire by pursuing alliance rather than conquest." The rebel general's antennae quivered with anger. "The Kisteri do not befriend lesser species. We rule them." As the Queen and the rebel leader faced each other, Sung Min noticed subtle changes in Mira's posture and eyes. The specialized compounds in his new hybrid were working as designed, temporarily enhancing neural pathways and cognitive function. "You plan to kill me, take command of the fleet, and then destroy Earth's major cities to demonstrate Kisteri power," Queen Mira stated calmly. "You have 36 supporters on this ship and 142 throughout the fleet. You planned to move next week, but accelerated your timeline when you learned of the cognitive effects of the Earth fruits." General Ta stepped back, his 4 eyes blinking rapidly in shock. "How could you possibly know your exact plans?" The Queen's voice remained calm. "The same way I know that your co-conspirator on the Earth side, General Park, planned to detonate explosives aboard this ship during the confusion of your attack." Earth security forces immediately surrounded a stunned General Park, who had been edging toward the exit. "The strawberry compounds don't just create pleasure, Ta," Queen Mira continued. "When properly cultivated and processed, they enhance our natural telepathic abilities. Abilities our species suppressed generations ago, as we became more technological and less biological." Murmurs spread through the crowd as the Queen turned to address everyone present. "Both our peoples stand at a crossroads. The Kisteri have conquered through superior technology and military might. Humans have survived through adaptability and connection to their biological roots. Each path has strengths the other lacks." Queen Mira gestured to the displays of Earth fruits and Kisteri plants. "This alliance offers both our species something we need. For humans, technological advancement without the centuries of war that typically accompany it. For the Kisteri, reconnection with the biological aspects of existence we engineered away, to our detriment." As she spoke, loyal guards surrounded the rebel leaders. The coup was collapsing before it had truly begun. Later that evening, as the festival continued with heightened security, Sung Min found himself in a quiet corner with Queen Mira and Ambassador Jin. "Your enhanced strawberry worked perfectly," Jin said with clear relief. The Queen's ability to read the conspirators' intentions prevented a massacre. Sung Min nodded, still processing the day's events. "The telepathic enhancement was an unexpected side effect. We were only trying to increase the cognitive benefits." Queen Mira's eyes seemed to soften as she looked at the human professor, perhaps not so unexpected. Your Earth has many secrets we are only beginning to understand. 2 days later, on the observation deck of the flagship, Queen Mira signed the formal treaty establishing the Interstellar Botanical Alliance. The document outlined unprecedented cooperation. Earth would share its agricultural knowledge and establish strawberry farms on 17 Kestari worlds, while the Kestari would provide advanced technology and protection from other, less friendly alien civilizations lurking in the galaxy. As the treaty was broadcast to both worlds, Professor Sungmin watched from the side, still amazed that his life's work had somehow become the foundation for humanity's first alien alliance. The engineer's antennae twitched. You sound surprised by the value we place on your fruits. On Earth, they're common. Children eat them on breakfast cereal. Perhaps that is why your species remains connected to simple pleasures that mine has forgotten, the engineer replied thoughtfully. Not everyone welcomed this peaceful exchange. On Earth, military factions worried about alien influence and dependency. General Park of the Pacific Alliance Forces pounded his fist on the table during a closed security meeting. They're buying us with trinkets like colonizers once did to indigenous peoples, he argued. These aliens have conquered 7 systems. You think they've suddenly become peaceful traders because they like the taste of our berries. Similarly, aboard the Kestari fleet, discontentment grew among certain military commanders. General Hack, leader of the Empire's elite conquest forces, met secretly with like-minded officers. Our queen has been compromised, he hissed. These primitive Earth compounds have affected her judgment. The mighty Kestari Empire does not trade with lesser species. We conquer them. Commander Da, still loyal to his queen despite his reservations, discovered these meetings and reported them. Queen Mira listened calmly, one hand resting near the small greenhouse built into her private chambers. They will move against us soon, she noted. Yes, Your Majesty, Da confirmed. And there are similar resistance movements forming on Earth. Both our peoples have factions that prefer conflict to cooperation. The Queen turned to look at Earth visible through the viewport. Then we must demonstrate that this new path offers more than the old ways of conquest and resistance. That evening, Professor Sungmin received an urgent message requesting his presence aboard the flagship. When he arrived, he found both Queen Mira and Ambassador Jin waiting. Professor, the Queen said, your expertise is needed for more than growing. We require your knowledge for a different purpose. Jin nodded gravely. There are forces opposing our alliance on both sides. The Queen believes your enhanced strawberry varieties might be key to a solution. Sungmin looked between them, confused. I don't understand. How can my strawberries prevent a military conflict? Queen Mira's 4 eyes seemed to gleam with something like satisfaction. Because, Professor, we've discovered that the neural enhancements from your latest varieties don't just create pleasure. When properly processed, they temporarily boost Kestari cognitive abilities beyond normal parameters. And we believe we can use this to our advantage. The grand hall of the Kestari flagship glowed with soft blue light as humans and aliens gathered for the first interspecies agricultural exchange festival. Elaborate displays of earth fruits stood beside strange Kestari plants, a visual symbol of the growing cooperation between the two worlds. Queen Mira had insisted on this public celebration, despite warnings from security officials on both sides about possible threats. Professor Sungmin adjusted the display of his newest strawberry hybrid, developed specifically to enhance the cognitive benefits the fruit provided to Kestari physiology. He had named it Peace Blossom, though he found the name a bit dramatic himself. Beside him, Ambassador Jin greeted arriving dignitaries with practiced diplomacy. The rebels will not act today, Jin whispered when they had a private moment. Our intelligence suggests they're still gathering support. Sungmin wasn't so sure. He had noticed several Kestari military officers watching the Queen with cold eyes. Similarly, a group of Earth officials stood apart, their body language clearly showing their discomfort with the alliance. Exactly. Which means we have leverage with a civilization that could wipe us out without effort. Kim's eyes were serious. Your strawberries might be the most important diplomatic tool in human history. That night, Sung Min couldn't sleep. He stared out the viewport at Earth shining below, thinking about his simple university greenhouse. Who could have predicted that humanity's first alien encounter would hinge not on weapons or technology, but on tiny red fruits that humans had been growing for centuries? And more importantly, what would happen when the Queen tasted his enhanced varieties? Ambassador Jin tried to keep her face composed as she stared across the negotiation table at Queen Mira and her advisors. The Kisteri delegation sat opposite Earth's representatives in what had once been a conference room aboard the alien flagship, but was now converted into a garden-like space with proper lighting for the growing plants that lined the walls. "Let me understand correctly," Jin said carefully. "You're offering us faster-than-light technology in exchange for comprehensive agricultural knowledge and ongoing shipments of strawberries and other earth fruits." Queen Mira's 4 obsidian eyes blinked in sequence. "Is our offer insufficient? We can include defensive shields and medical technologies as well." Jin exchanged glances with General Li and Science Director Kang. The Kisteri were offering technology that would advance humanity by centuries, asking mainly for things humans had been growing since ancient times. "Your offer is very generous," Jin replied. "We just want to ensure we understand your interest in our agriculture." The Queen's silver-scaled hand moved to a small container beside her. Inside was a perfectly ripe strawberry from Professor Sung Min's demonstration garden. She lifted it with an almost reverent care. "Your fruits contain compounds that produce beneficial effects for our species," she said simply. "Effects we cannot synthetically replicate despite our advanced technology." Science Director Kang leaned forward. "What kind of effects exactly?" Commander Da, sitting beside his queen, shifted uncomfortably. "That information is sensitive to our biology and not relevant to our negotiations." Queen Mira raised a hand to silence him. "No, Commander. If we seek alliance, we must offer truth." She turned to the humans. "The compounds in your fruits, particularly strawberries, create neurochemical reactions in Kisteri physiology. They stimulate dormant pleasure pathways and enhance cognitive function temporarily." "They're drugs to you," General Li said bluntly. The Queen's head tilted. A crude but not inaccurate description. "However, unlike your concept of drugs, these effects appear beneficial rather than harmful over time. Our scientists have documented improved neural plasticity after regular consumption." Back on Earth, the implementation of the preliminary agreement was already underway. In the fertile regions of what had once been conflict zones, new agricultural centers were being established with Kisteri funding. The aliens had provided atmospheric regulators that adjusted weather patterns to optimize growing conditions. Professor Sung Min walked between rows of newly planted strawberry fields outside Busan, where Kisteri agricultural students followed his every move. The aliens learned quickly, their 4-fingered hands surprisingly gentle with the delicate plants. "The key is patience," Sung Min explained to a young Kisteri named Ta. "Plants cannot be rushed like machines." Ta nodded, his antennae quivering with interest. "Our species lost connection to growing things centuries ago. We engineered ourselves beyond such needs." "Perhaps that was a mistake," Sung Min suggested carefully. The aliens seemed to consider this. "Many things are being reconsidered since we discovered Earth." In orbit, aboard the Kisteri flagship, Ambassador Jin was being given a tour of their propulsion systems as part of the technology exchange. The engineer showing her the faster-than-light drive spoke with pride about its capabilities. "This will allow your ships to reach nearby star systems within days rather than the centuries your current technology requires," he explained. Jin nodded, still trying to process the enormity of what humanity was gaining. "All this for strawberries," she murmured. Sung Min cleared his throat. "Yes, Your Majesty. I've developed several new varieties and improved growing techniques." For the next hour, the professor answered increasingly detailed questions about soil composition, watering systems, and seasonal growing cycles. The political team looked increasingly confused as what was supposed to be a formal diplomatic exchange turned into an advanced gardening seminar. I brought some samples, Sung Min finally said, gesturing to the cases they'd brought. With your permission, I could demonstrate proper growing techniques. The queen stood immediately. Show me. In a large chamber converted into a makeshift greenhouse, Sung Min unpacked his equipment. The queen watched every movement, asking questions about each tool and container. The secret is in the soil fee, he explained, mixing components carefully. Strawberries prefer slightly acidic conditions, between 5.5 and 6.5 on the Fay scale. The queen nodded as if this was vital military intelligence. Behind her, royal scientists took detailed notes. These are seedlings of 5 different varieties, Sung Min continued, carefully placing tiny plants in the prepared soil. This one is my newest development. I call it Dawn Sky because of its color. As he worked, Ambassador Kim and her team huddled in a corner with several high-ranking Kasteri officials. Your queen seems very interested in our agriculture, Kim noted carefully. Commander Day's antennae twitched slightly. The queen believes your planet's biological resources have unique properties worth studying. Is that why your fleet is positioned in our orbit? Asked Security Advisor Park. For agricultural research. Daz's 4 eyes blinked in sequence. The Kasteri Empire has conquered 7 systems and rules 26 subject species. We could have taken your world without discussion. The tension in the room thickened until a sound broke through, something none of the humans had heard before. Queen Mira was making a trilling noise as she watched Sung Min demonstrate water absorption in different soil mixtures. It's she, laughing, whispered a human diplomat. This has never happened, replied a shocked Kasteri scientist. Our species does not express emotion this way. Across the room, Sung Min was oblivious to the diplomatic significance of the moment. He was simply doing what he had always done, talking passionately about plants. Your Majesty, with proper care, these seedlings will produce fruit in approximately 60 Earth days, he explained, gently patting the soil around a tiny plant. 60 days, the queen repeated, sounding disappointed. Sung Min noticed her reaction. However, I brought mature plants as well. They already have developing fruit that will ripen within a week. The queen's posture changed immediately. These will produce the same compounds as the ones already harvested. Even better, Sung Min said with the pride of a lifetime farmer. These are my enhanced varieties, with stronger flavor compounds and higher sugar content. Later, as the human delegation prepared to return to their quarters, Ambassador Kim pulled Sung Min aside. Do you understand what's happening here? She asked urgently. Sung Min looked confused. They're interested in our agricultural techniques. No, they're obsessed with strawberries. Specifically, how they taste. She lowered her voice. Intelligence thinks something in the fruit affects their biology. We're dealing with an advanced alien species that appears to be addicted to our berries. Sung Min blinked. But they're just strawberries. Hyun stepped closer, lowering his voice. Yesterday, you spent 6 hours watching human farming documentaries. The day before, you canceled the military parade to study Earth weather patterns that affect crop growth. This isn't like you, Your Majesty. Perhaps it's exactly like me, Mira replied. Perhaps I've discovered something more valuable than conquest. After Hyun left, looking troubled, Queen Mira returned to her desk and carefully opened the refrigeration unit. 1 perfect strawberry remained. Tomorrow, the collection ships would return with more, but for now, this was her last. In her command center across the ship, Commander Day reviewed disturbing reports. Military leaders were grumbling. 3 conquest campaigns have been put on indefinite hold. Resources normally allocated to weapons development were now directed toward creating perfect growing environments for Earth plants. She's obsessed, whispered Sub-Commander Min during their private briefing. The queen who conquered the Cygnus arm in a month now spends her time studying irrigation techniques. Day frowned. Be careful with such talk. It's not just talk. Some in the fleet are questioning her fitness to rule. That night, while Queen Mira slept and dreamed of red fields under an alien sun, her empire began to fracture. Commanders held secret meetings. Counselors exchanged worried messages. The once unified Kesturi were dividing into factions, those loyal to their queen regardless of her new obsession, and those who saw her changed behavior as weakness. In her royal laboratory, scientists worked through the night, attempting again to replicate the conditions of Earth's soil. Their latest failure smoldered in a testing chamber. "It's impossible," sighed Chief Scientist June, reviewing the data. "Something in the Earth's ecosystem, perhaps its bacteria or fungal components, creates unique chemical properties we cannot synthesize." His assistant looked up from her station. "Then what's the solution?" June's antennae drooped slightly. "We need the humans themselves. Their knowledge, their techniques." In her dreams, Queen Mira walked through endless rows of strawberry plants, their sweet scent filling the air. For the first time in her long life, conquest and expansion seemed hollow compared to this simple pleasure. She would have her strawberries. She would understand how these simple beings on their small planet had created something that affected her so profoundly. When she awoke, her decision was made. The Kesturi Empire would reveal itself to Earth, not as conquerors, but as seekers of knowledge. It was unprecedented. It was risky. Her ancestors would have been appalled. But none of them had ever tasted a strawberry. Professor Sungmin wiped his sweaty palms on his pants for the 5th time in as many minutes. 3 weeks ago, he had been tending to his experimental strawberry beds at Seoul National University's Agricultural Research Center. Now he stood in a metal hallway aboard an alien spacecraft, waiting to meet the queen of a star-spanning empire. "Remember, speak clearly and directly," Ambassador Kim whispered beside him. "Our translators say the Kesturi value precision and dislike metaphors." Some men nodded nervously. When the massive alien ships had appeared in Earth's orbit, the world had braced for destruction. Instead came a message. The Kesturi Empire wished to discuss Earth's agricultural practices, particularly regarding strawberry cultivation. World leaders were confused but relieved. When they requested a botanical expert, Sungmin's name had topped the list due to his revolutionary work with berry yields. The metal doors slid open silently. 2 tall guards with silver-scaled skin and 4 black eyes gestured for the humans to enter. The throne room was surprisingly bright, with transparent walls showing the stars beyond. Queen Mira sat on a simple raised platform, her posture rigid but her 4 eyes fixed intently on the newcomers. She was taller than the other Kesturi, with more ornate patterns on her exoskeleton. "Welcome, humans," she said, her voice translated through devices on the humans' collars. "I am Queen Mira of the Kesturi Empire." Ambassador Kim stepped forward and bowed. "We are honored, Your Majesty. I present Professor Sungmin, Earth's leading expert on strawberry cultivation." The Queen's attention shifted immediately. Sungmin felt those 4 black eyes examining him with uncomfortable intensity. "You grow these fruits?" she asked, leaning forward slightly. Queen Mira of the Kesturi Empire stood on the observation deck of her massive flagship, her 4 obsidian eyes reflecting the blue-green planet that filled the view screen. Earth, as the natives called it, a small world on the edge of an unremarkable galaxy, yet the preliminary scans showed a biological diversity that intrigued her scientific mind. "Your Majesty," said Chief Scientist June, bowing deeply as he entered. His exoskeleton clicked softly against the polished floor. "The specimen collection team has returned from the surface. They avoided detection as ordered." Mira nodded, her silver-scaled skin catching the light. "Show me what they found." In the royal laboratory, transparent containers lined the tables, each holding different Earth treasures. Rocks with colorful mineral patterns, vials of water from various sources, and most interestingly, an array of plant matter. "We selected samples from all major ecosystems," June explained, moving gracefully despite his armored body. "The planet possesses remarkable biological variety for its size. Queen Mira moved among the specimens with scientific curiosity. After conquering 7 star systems and ruling over 26 subject species, she had developed a connoisseur's appreciation for the unique biological offerings of each world. Usually, such inspections were merely ceremonial before she ordered a full resource assessment. "What is this?" she asked, pausing at a container holding small red objects. "The natives call them strawberries, Your Majesty. They are reproductive structures of certain plants, containing seeds surrounded by nutritive tissue." Mira picked one up, examining it between her slender fingers. The Kesteri had evolved beyond the need for solid nutrition centuries ago, subsisting on energy infusions, but they maintained the ability to taste as a means of testing environmental safety, a remnant of their evolutionary past. "Interesting texture," she noted, turning the fruit to observe the tiny seeds on its surface. "Our analysis shows it contains simple sugars and various organic compounds," Jun said. "Nothing remarkable by galactic standards." Something about the bright color and sweet smell awakened an ancient instinct in the queen. Without planning to, she placed the strawberry in her mouth. The effect was immediate and overwhelming. Flavor, powerful, sweet, slightly tart, exploded across sense receptors that had known only the bland taste of ceremonial energy solutions for centuries. The queen's compound eyes widened as neural pathways long dormant flared to life. Her mind, capable of calculating battle strategies across multiple dimensions, was suddenly overwhelmed by sensory input. "Your Majesty." Jun's voice sounded distant as Mira gripped the edge of the table. For the first time in her 300-year existence, Queen Mira of the feared Kesteri Empire, conqueror of the Pleiades cluster, destroyer of the Arcturus rebellion, dropped to her knees, overcome by sensation. The royal guards moved forward in alarm, weapons raised against an invisible threat. But there was no enemy to fight. Their queen was experiencing something beyond their understanding. "I am fine," Mira managed to say, though her voice trembled. The taste lingered, sending waves of pleasure through her highly evolved nervous system. Something in the simple earth fruit had triggered a biochemical reaction never before documented in Kesteri physiology. When she finally stood, her eyes had a new light in them. "Jun, analyze this strawberry. I want to know everything about its composition, growing conditions, cultivation methods." "Yes, Your Majesty. Though if I may ask, why is this particular specimen of interest?"